In this video, we're going to discuss one of the most controversial topics in Football Manager. Some people say it's cheating, others say it's fine if you do it once in a while. But we're going to be talking about safe scumming or safe scum on Football Manager. Now, it's important to inform you that Football Manager is a single player game with an online player feature, and no one, I mean absolutely no one, should tell you how to play the game. There are no rules. Have fun. First, we're going to define what safe scum is so players can understand it and not confuse it with what it is not. Then we'll look at scenarios where it is okay to actually safe scum, or scenarios where I would say it's recommended that you safe scum. But before we look at that, let me know in the comment section what you think safe scum actually is and if you do think it's cheating. So the definition: safe scum is the act of saving your game just before making a big decision or before playing a challenging level. In Football Manager, that level would be a difficult match or a cup final, with the intention of replaying the level if you fail. Or from this definition, we can see that safe scum is not only limited to Football Manager, there are other games as well that may have difficult levels, and you go on to save just before that level so you don't have to replay an entire progress all over again just to get there. Does that make sense? I'll go over it again slowly. Safe scum is the act of saving your game just before making a big decision or before playing a challenging level, with the intention of replaying the level if you fail. I would argue that Football Manager is more of a simulator than it is a game to me, but that's just my personal opinion. But it brings a whole new dimension as to what safe scum really means to me. It brings us to the next part of our video, which is it actually okay to go ahead and safe scum? And if it is, when is it okay? Like I mentioned before, nobody should actually tell you how to play Football Manager. It's your game, have fun, play it the way you like. But because Football Manager feels more like a simulation to me than an actual game, the act of saving the game before an important decision becomes common sense and not exactly cheating. In my book, cheating is altering a game in a way that gives you an unfair advantage over your competitors in the game. This could be like using your in-game editor or pre-game editor to actually increase the ability of your players or your Skybet League 2 players, giving them 20 attributes overall, making them slightly better than all the other teams in the league. That would count as cheating. Also using the in-game editor or the not really at this point pre-game editor, using the in-game editor to actually clear a financial debt in your team or adding a lot more money to your team to give them a financial advantage over all the other teams that are currently playing in the same division as you. I would count this as cheating, especially if the debt that is occurred by or the debt that is incurred by the club was something that you caused as a player by yourself. But saving the game before a big match and repeating the match with all the match conditions, all the in-game conditions, staying neutral and the same situation and everything, I won't really count this as cheating. I will just count this as playing the same game over and over again until you actually win. And depending on how long you do that, you may be stuck in the game for a very long time. If anything, it only robs you of the satisfaction of a good story, because a good story always has ups and downs, so you have to lose some games. And like I mentioned before, it keeps you stuck in the same place for a very long time. Have I ever safe scummed before? Yes. I won't be able to make this video if I hadn't. And I had a friend back in university, his name is Shola, and he explained to me that Football Manager has an inbuilt code that simulates the outcome of the game in advance before the match even starts. So the final outcome stays the same regardless of how many times you actually replay the match. I was new to Football Manager at the time and I thought he was right. I did experience replaying a game and getting the same outcome, and by outcome I mean if it was a win or a defeat or a draw. I'm going to use win or lose here. The scoreline would somehow stay the same, and by outcome I mean win or lose, and the scoreline would be anything. It could be 1-0, 3-1, 2-0. I just had to either lose the game or usually I just kept on losing the same match I was playing. What I didn't know at the time was that I wasn't actually very good at playing Football Manager. Over the years I took defeats on the chin and moved forward, and this way I learned how Football Manager actually works and how to actually win games, and most importantly how to avoid losing games. So we'll get into scenarios where it's actually okay to safe scum. Enough of my stories now. Scenario number 1, during tactical experiments. I've done this once or twice, or a lot. You know when you're told to never start a match with a new tactic with your team, just throw them into the field like that with a brand new tactic? That's because the players won't already know how to play the tactic, they won't be familiar with it. But I've done this before, and it's important to just observe what happens in the match with a fresh, untrained tactic to see how your players actually react to it. So for me, experimental purposes, safe scum is okay. Next scenario, UEFA Champions League final. If you have never had the experience of winning the Champions League in Football Manager before, you can safe scum. It's your game, play it how you like. But it's recommended that just before the final you actually go ahead and save your game. I don't know if you would choose to save scum afterwards or not, but just try to save your match just before the final. I feel everyone deserves to win the Champions League at least once in this game. Scenario number 3, player injuries. If a star player gets injured, I'm hearing it's okay to actually go back 1 week before he got injured. I like this one because you really have no control over injuries, so it's possible to actually go back into the game and then he still gets injured on the exact same day from training or whatever. You can try to avoid injuries as much as you can, but in Football Manager, I noticed that it's a normal thing, so you really have to just somehow deal with injuries. Scenario number 4, league games and cup games. This one is tough because this is where most people actually get stuck playing the same game over and over. I'm not here to tell you how to play Football Manager, but for league games, I tend to take defeat and just learn from them and move on. Usually cups too, but they're more difficult, especially as a lower league team or a mid-table team. If you get knocked out from cup competitions, either way, it's a bonus for you. This way you can focus on the league and play less games overall and try to find your way to the top to get promotion. Scenario number 5, during a glitch in the game or a bug. And I think this is why Football Manager actually has 3 role saves, just in case of a corruption or a crash dump in the middle of a match. This has happened to me before when I was actually winning a game. I get a crash dump in the middle of the match and then I restart the game, restart my computer, only to replay the game, and then I ended up losing the game. So I'll be asking myself now, did the AI just save scum me? Did they really need to win that badly? So let me know what game scenarios you normally save and avoid the risk of failing. I've tried listing a few scenarios that would apply for me. And do you still think that save scum is cheating after watching this video? And remember that Football Manager is a single player game and nobody can tell you how to actually play the game and how to have fun with it. We all play the game differently, and you need to always remember that first and foremost. If you did enjoy this video, remember to share it with somebody who's actually had a discussion about save scum, or you can share it in the communities as well. And also subscribe to the channel so you can get more Football Manager videos like this. I also talk about tactics for mid-table teams and underdog teams and sometimes elite teams on Football Manager here on DarkHorseFM, so you can get Football Manager tactic videos and Football Manager hints and tips videos. I did recently release one about opposition instructions. It's quite useful, so you can go ahead and check that video next. I'll see you with more Football Manager videos. See you later.